Hello girls, today we are going to paint a wilderness girls retreat, a camp out on a mountain lake at night. And we're going to work through it step by step. So first off, what you need is your paper, a paintbrush, your watercolor paints, and a pencil. So once you have your supplies, you're going to start, and a bowl of water for your watercolor paints. We're going to start out by sketching a large circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Using up most of our paper. Even mine's not perfect. I'm just sketching lightly. When you're drawing and you're going to paint over with watercolor, you want to draw really light because dark pencil lines will show through our watercolors. And just a rough estimate of a circle on your paper. Then we're going to draw in our lake. I'm going to start near the bottom corner. I want it to have an edge. You can draw any shape of lake that you want. Just a little line. We only want to take up a little bit of our paper because the majority of our paper we want for a beautiful night sky. Once you have your lake sketched in, we're going to put our tent next to it. To do your tent, you're going to draw two sides of a triangle with a line down the middle for our tent pole. Then we're going to go at a slight diagonal for the bottom and the top of our tent and meet it up with another diagonal line, like so. Really simple. Then we're going to draw our horizon line. We want this to be at least halfway in our circle, if not a little bit lower. I'm going to come in from this side and just draw a little horizon line. We want our tent to poke up above the horizon. And I'm going to curve it back up this way a little bit. So some nice light sketches. Once you have your horizon line in, we're going to draw a little outline for our trees because we want to leave some white paper so that we know where to draw. I'm going to draw just a little to get my outline. I'm going to draw some sticks in for my trees. I want some trees there and there, and one there. Maybe one there. We'll go with one there. Trees are always narrower up top. So I'm going to just do some little outlines. They don't have to be too perfect. I'm just doing some jagged lines to roughly show me where I might want my trees. If you want to draw a different type of tree, you can. You can draw round ones. I'm going to do some pine trees. They're just little squigglies to roughly show me where I want them. And I'll come do these ones too. That tree's going to go right on into my tent. I want that one taller. And we'll decide perfectly where we want our trees later. I want another tree here. Like so. All right. Just get a really rough estimate of where you would like your trees. It's not going to be too important where they are. Our next step is we're going to start painting our sky. To do this, we're going to blend some colors. First off, I want to get some water And I'm going to put it in my blue. I want to get blue. I want a night sky, and this blue is really light, so I'd like it to be darker. So what we're going to do is on the lid, you're going to bring some of that blue color. Bring some blue onto the lid. Then I'm going to dip my brush, get it cleaner, and bring some fresh water into my black. Black can very quickly overpower everything that you're doing. So I'm going to dip off a little because I don't want too much. And then I'm going to add this to my blue to darken it. Just go a little bit at a time. That didn't quite bring me enough of what I want, so I'm going to bring some more fresh black. I dip my brush in the water every time I go back for a color because it helps me keep my colors clean. Now see, that was a little bit too much black for me. I'm going to go grab some more blue and bring it back in and mix it. There we go. I like that color. The cleaner you keep your colors, the easier it is to blend with them. So I'm going to take some of this blue and we're going to try a different technique. So I'm going to grab my second paintbrush. If you only have one, you can rinse off the first one. I'm going to grab some water. We're going to try a wet on wet technique. So I'm going to wet my paper. See, my water's already slightly blue. But I'm going to wet my paper where I want my night sky and just paint it with the water. Then I'm going to come with my color and I'm going to draw a line around the edge of the horizon because that's the darkest part. And see how it just blends and bleeds? I want the dark part of my night sky over here. It starts blending and bleeding, and we can get some more water and start dragging that color right on around. Blend that right on in. And drag the color down to the edge of my trees. You don't have to get too close because you can see how the watercolor is starting to bleed and move around. We're just going to get some more water. Blend it. You want the dark part up top, and it gets lighter the further away you go. Now that's awful pretty. We're going to blend some other colors in. Night skies can sometimes have lots of colors, or you can think of the northern lights in your sky. Lots of different things. I'm going to add a little bit of purple to my sky. And I'm just going to add some color and drop it in. I'm not just dropping the paintbrush. I'm going to stroke and blend it in with that color. So it starts blending. I'm just going to go back and forth a little. Bring that blue in, bring the purple into it. I'm going to go back and get some of my blue and bring it back and blending it together on the paper. Oh, that's nice. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. I'm going to add a touch of yellow to my sky. It kind of makes it green with the purple and the blue. Add some more blue, straight blue to it. And just play with it on your paper as you add the colors and blend them. You can go back for some more. If you don't like it, just blend some more color into it. Don't use too many different colors. You'll just make a brown in your sky. So keep your palette to 2 or 3 colors that you'd like to use. Oh, that's nice. And I want a little bit darker on my edge, so I'm going to grab some more black right here. I'm going to grab some more black, mix it in with my blue because I want it a bit darker. Maybe a little blue. I want a little bit deeper coming in here as I blend it around. Oh, that's pretty. There we go. like that. That looks nice. And you see I just came up to the edge of my forest line, and little strokes to fill it in a little. We're going to paint most of the trees, so those all disappear. I like that. So go ahead and blend it till you're happy with what color you have. Then we're going to leave the sky alone for a little bit, and we're going to move on to our lake. Might as well stay with the same colors with our water. So the edges of our lake are going to be a little bit darker because that's where shadows fall at night. So I'm adding just a little bit of black to my blue again. And I'm going to outline the edge of my lake. Just like that. Then I'm going to grab some water and blend the color into the lake. Be gentle. We want some reflections in here. And so I'm going to kind of skip over, maybe leave some white as I'm blending it down, if it'll let me. If not, it's okay. It'll work. It just blends the colors. Brings them light. And you see blending it left me with not a dark shoreline, but we can add stuff to that later. And I'm gonna add a little lighter. I'm going with my straight blue. I'm just gonna get a little bit of it. And I want to add that to the center of the lake because it's kind of, ooh, watch that bleed, that's cool. It's kind of a little bit lighter. Reflecting the night sky. I'm gonna get rid of my white. I just like blending it. I'm gonna tap my brush a little and add some more water to blend these two colors together so they're not so harsh. Not so defined on the edges. Watercolor's pretty cool because you can just keep blending these colors. I want some more of my dark around this. I'm probably gonna leave this for a minute. If your dark edge went away, that's okay. We're gonna let it dry and then we can come back over it with the dark color and highlight it in a bit. When you are happy with the darkness level of your lake and the blended colors, you can wash your brush and we'll move on to the trees. There, I'm happy with that. Oh, my call good. One really good thing when you're changing colors on your brush, go ahead and dab it dry on a paper towel to help get some of that excess water off, so that you're not bringing too much of the other color into your next color. And if you need to right now, you can change watercolor, because as you can see, my water is pretty blue. I'm happy with it because I'm gonna do greens next. So trees at night are very dark. Everything's dark, it's night. So I'm gonna grab some of my green. I have a very light, bright green. I'm gonna rinse my brush a little because my black is dry. Get some black. You mix it in, that's too much black. So I'm gonna grab some more green. And trees have lots of different colors in them. They're not just green. So I'm actually gonna grab a touch of brown. And I like the darkness that that brown adds to my trees. It's kind of a muddy color, but it kind of to me looks like dark pine. Now I'm gonna use my brush very lightly to draw lines. Just little lines. I wanna use just the tips. Oh, my lines might be bigger than I want, but that's okay. Now trees can have lines going every which way. They got branches going this way, branches going that way. So you don't want to just paint in your outline. We want to add some branches going this way and that way, and this way and that way. Just little happy strokes to show my tree. And as I fill in this color, you're not totally seeing all my line strokes, but that's okay because we're going to add another color to our tree to give it dimension. So go ahead and use all of this first color to fill in your trees and draw them. Now some might want, I'm going to grab just a little bit of brown. We might have a tree that we want to kind of have some broken branch through a little. I like that. I'm gonna, oops, too much water on my brush. And we lose some of that definition. I'll come off of, I just thicken up my color. Got a little watery. Dab it dry. And just keep working and blending that color. Those trees look really nice. I lost touch there. My other side just a little. So there we go. Now I'm gonna make a little bit lighter of a green or a different green, maybe just some green and a little black. Maybe I want a little bit more green, no brown in it this time. I'm gonna twist my brush to make a fine point. I'm gonna come back and add some lines, just some simple lines to add some character to my tree. Some definition to my pine trees. It doesn't matter which direction my line's going. Just so long as I'm kind of making it look like a pine tree. Just adding some dimension to it to make it more believable that it's not a flat image. Giving my pine tree some volume. I'm gonna let that one dry a little bit because it's a little wet. I might come over here. I think I need to stick one pine tree that just isn't with us anymore. He's just the branches. Give me some branches there. Maybe there's another one here. Just kind of, it's a forest. Add a couple stick trees. And I'm gonna add some of this color to this guy now. As it dries, it's gonna take on shapes of its own. And the added color just gives everything a little definition. Maybe you want to bring your straight green in. We'll see how that dries. There. My trees are a little blurry there in the distance, but that's okay. Next, we are going to add a little bit of yellow, straight yellow to the front of our tent because somebody has a light on the inside. So just add the straight yellow. Then we're going to mix a little bit of dark brown because our dirt is dark brownish. I'm going to put some brown on my lid. And I'm going to add some black. There we go. I like that. And once again, I'm going to add the brown right at the base of my trees. Right there like that. And once again, I'm going to bring water in and drag my color down. Now, not all dirt is one color. Oopsie, got a little too close. Okay, a little close to my tent, which wasn't quite dry yet. Just take a paper towel and dab it off. I'll come back to that spot in a minute. The nice thing about this is you can add some colors and blend it right on in on the paper. I want it a little lighter down by the lake, so I'm going to add some orange and start blending that in along the edge of my lake. Blending that brown, bringing that dark brown a little bit more lightened up. Bring that dark brown down on into the orange. It makes a nice color. And I'm going to blend that over. It gives us some depth perception. Some dark areas and some light areas. I just want that darker there. And we'll do the same thing over here on the other side. I'm going to bring some dirt, some of my dark dirt right there at the base, and then blend that on down. And it lightens up the further down you get. And I'm going to bring some of that orange back in. Might have been a little much. That's okay, because we bring the dirt right in front of my tent. You go get some more brown. There we go. It just all mixes together to this beautiful muddy brown. Oh, maybe I want to add some straight brown. Adds a nice color. Might have been too much. Just play with your color. As you can see, you can keep blending. And we kind of have a darker color on this side. Try your best to make them look similar on both sides. Just a touch of brown. There we go. So what you do on one side, you want to also do on the other, and that yellow is very strong. I want my yellow to go away on my tent. I need to let it dry. Go ahead and let this dry for a minute, because I'm going to add a little bit more darkness to my lake, but I need that edge dry. All right, so now that my dirt has dried, I wanted a little bit more darkness to my lake. So I'm going to re-wet my dark blue that I made. And if you need to add a little blue or black, you can. And we're going to go over the edge of the lake again. Layering totally works. And I'm just going to bring, if I do some side strokes back and forth, it looks like water ripples, so that it works really well, showing the different levels of the water. And if it gets too dark, add a little water to it again. Blend those colors together. That makes it lighter. Gives my water a little more depth. So now you can pick the color you want to do your tent in. You could have a green tent, you could have a blue tent, you could have an orange tent. Whatever color tent you want. This time I'm kind of going to go with a reddish orange tent. And we're going to bring, the top is the darkest. So you're going to do that first again. And then bring the color down, maybe with a little bit of water. Just a little, to lighten it up on the ends. It's kind of an orangish tint. I think I might want to add a little bit of red to it, just to give it character. I got a lot of water on mine, so I want to let it dry a little before I add too much. There, I like that. That should dry nice. And don't forget to get just a little bit of your brown. You're going to want to take your brush and your brown and just roll it a little to get a nice fine point on your brush. Just get a little bit of that color in there. Not too much. And we're going to draw a very fine line. Just trace the line that's holding up your tent. And I'm going to go down on the side just to give that definition. There. That works pretty nice. Maybe I want some on this. Just trace it like that. Next, you need to find your white. If you have white on your color palette, you can use it, but it's going to be kind of see-through-ish. Or I have a little bit of acrylic paint that I'm going to use. I'm going to make my brush a fine point just by twisting it in my fingers and trying to get that point. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to the tip of my brush, just like that, and I'm going to put my stars in the sky. Stars can go anywhere. Just put some random dots. If you want to draw a constellation, you can, but you don't have to. This time I'm not going to put any constellations in my sky. And put as few or as many stars as you want. And if you'd like, you can even add a comet. This one's kind of a little blurry, so I'm just going to take it from my center of the star and just arch up and kind of draw a comet line. Maybe I have two comets, one following the other. Like that. We'll do here. I like shooting stars. They're kind of fun. And just add the dots that you want. We're also going to add a little bit of white to reflection. I'm going to lightly go back and forth in my lake. Just a little bit. And it's okay if you got a little much. Your acrylic paints will blend in it. It looks good if it doesn't necessarily follow any straight lines. And I'm just blending my light reflection in. I don't want too much paint, but it'll be cool. I have lots. This time I'm going to go out on the edge and just dry my brush out like that. Now if you'd like, you could add just a touch of yellow to the lake. You don't want too much to show the cabin light reflecting from your tent. It'll kind of turn green, but it shows the light. And there you have your painting. You have a little cabin all done in the woods, or a little tent. A perfect place to spend the night. All right, hope you girls had fun painting this with me. I know I had fun painting it with you. Have a great night.